if Clash Royale cards owned their own business and they had to be entrepreneurs of that business, would they basically be the CEO of their business where it's really successful? Would the business be somewhat successful? Or would they engage in some unscrupulous practices where the business would either be shady, bankrupt, or just straight up illegal? Um, my name is Will the Reaper, and that's what I will be determining in today's video. This idea was brought to us by Abdul Rahman H9W4J. So if you're watching this video, please give me a comment so I can pin it and give you a shout out for today. But anyway, let's get down to it. So skeletons. I think if skeletons ran their own business, they'd probably run their own like dagger store, right? I'd say it's probably somewhat successful, right? I'd say, they probably wouldn't sell like steel blades, right? I feel like they'd sell like cute foam blades, right? And they'd have some pretty good branding. But I don't really know how they'd go about it. So I think that their business would be somewhat successful. The bomber is he'd sell bombs, right? Unless he had some kind of permit to sell that kind of firearm. Yeah, bomber's getting arrested for trying to sell bombs to everybody, which is not the best thing. Goblins, I feel like goblins, they're very greedy. I mean, they are unbelievably greedy. They steal gold in Clash of Clans, right? They're known for being very deceiving. And so they will definitely undercut you. They engage in some sleazy business practices. And even though their business probably is successful, they're definitely getting arrested for like cheating on the deals that they make with their business partners. Spear goblins, same thing, right? Because goblins love to be greedy. Um, I mean, zap spell, it technically can't do anything, right? I mean, a zap spell business would be interesting, but the zap spell itself cannot be, engage in a business practice. It's not a living thing. The knight, I feel like the knight would sell like training or something. I don't know. I feel like the knight would be somewhat successful. Maybe if he sold like his armor or his swords or something. Like a weaponsmith. I feel like that could be somewhat interesting. Archers, if they were to sell, I feel like they would sell archery lessons. If I'm being honest. And I think that they would be somewhat successful, right? Actually, I think they'd probably be like, if they're phenomenal at archery, which they're supposed to be, right? Imagine getting lessons about archery from the best archers in the entire world. That would be pretty interesting. They would definitely run a successful business, but I don't think it'd make like billions or anything. They'd still be very good at what they do, though. It'd be very cool to get archery lessons. Minions are probably going in sleazy business, or business practices. I really don't know what. Actually, minions would sell dark elixir, which is probably like the equivalent of like illegal drugs. So they're getting arrested. Arrows can't do anything. Cannon, Tesla, and motor are not living things, so they can't be business people. All right, so barbarians might provide like training courses or something, or they might sell their swords, but I think they'd go bankrupt. I don't think they'd be good at managing a business at all. They'd probably be really stupid about a lot of things, and yeah. Minion hordes going right next to minions. I mean, they're probably selling dark elixir, which is heavily illegal, at least from what I think it would be. Tombstone can't physically sell anything. Musketeer, um, selling muskets, with the proper license, because selling a straight up bomb like the bomber is just illegal, but selling like a musket with the proper firearms license, that'd be pretty cool. Maybe to even get some like maybe to even get like, some training, musket training. That'd be really cool. Maybe the musketeer opens up her own like shooting range. That would be pretty interesting. Valkyrie, I think, would probably open up like a training camp, I guess. Maybe she would sell her axes. I think it'd be somewhat successful, but probably not the CEO. Hog Rider, what would Hog Rider have a business for? Um, Maybe like a course to enjoy life or something, or maybe no, he would have people pet his hog. Right, he would like rent his hog for like $10, and like people could like take pictures with it or something like that, which I think would be somewhat successful, but I'm not too sure. Mini Pekka would open up his own pancake restaurant, and everybody would love to do it. You have the branding. Everybody, like, Mini Pekka is like everyone's favorite card in the game next to Hog Rider. So just the branding alone would be great. And then I feel like Mini Pekka would be very smart. Even though he's technically on the younger side, I think his business though would be so amazing, and then maybe he partners up with like other people, other companies to help them run his business. I think it'd be great. Fireball can't do anything. Bomb tower would definitely be illegal. It like if I'm making the argument that the bomber in the bomb tower is a living thing and tries to sell his bomb tower, it would be illegal. Goblin hut is not included. Uh, what would actually? I think the giant would probably sell himself as like a construction worker or something like that. Maybe he would go into like wrestling. You could sell yourself as like a person in a field. Like I'm a musician, right? I'm always selling myself as like a pianist, right? To people, try to get business. So Giant could be like the world's best wrestler. But I think him doing the construction would be really cool. Imagine he's just picking up a crane or something, and that'd be awesome. Wizard would probably sell potions. I think that'd be really cool, right? To have a real life wizard sell you potions or, teach you apothecary or sorcery. I think that'd be sick. Inferno Tower, not included. Rocket is not included. If it was, it'd be highly illegal. Elixir Collector, Barb Hut, Mirror, and Rage Spell not included because they're not entrepreneurs. Skeleton Army, I mean, what would they sell themselves as? Like an army? Like, I don't know. I don't think people would really need a skeleton. Listen, with 3 skeletons, you could do a lot. But, like, a whole skeleton army, I don't really think anyone would need that. That's pretty much go bankrupt. Goblin Barrel's not included because the barrel itself is not an entrepreneur. Baby Dragon? I mean, what? The Baby Dragon would sell himself as, like, someone who breathes fire? I I guess probably going bankrupt. Free spells not included, which probably similarly to the wizard, selling spells. Like a love potion or invisibility potion or teleportation potion. Any of those that would be like sick. Like that, everyone would go crazy for that. CEO of your own business. Prince, I feel like Prince would probably do a course, like one of those like really like stupid courses, like how to become the ultra giga Chad, right? Um, I mean, I think because he's a prince, he'd be somewhat successful, right? He'd have that branding going on, but yeah, I think the prince would low key kind of sell like courses on how to be cool, which is like the lamest thing you could possibly do. But since he's a prince, who could resist that? The balloon, I'm actually selling the hot air balloon. I think it'd be pretty cool. I think that'd be somewhat interesting selling the hot. If the bomber in the hot air balloon puts away all the bombs and he's just giving hot balloon rides, I could see that being somewhat successful. But if he's selling the bombs with the balloon, he's getting arrested. Giant skeleton is it's illegal because he's always going to be carrying like a very deadly explosive on his back, so he would just get arrested immediately. Even if you had him working construction, it wouldn't work. Lightning and Expo, they're not included. Pekka would probably sell like a butterfly garden or something. Maybe she opens her own butterfly garden like exhibit or zoo or something. I think that'd be cool. I think it'd be somewhat successful. I don't really think it would get like a whole lot of customers, especially since it might be a seasonal thing in like the spring or summer. But I don't think Pekka's business would necessarily go bankrupt because I still think it'd be interesting. To see like a butterfly exhibit. I don't even know what the golem would sell. Again, maybe the giant as like construction, but he's kind of made of rock, so he does have a lot of dexterity. I don't really know what he would sell. Yeah. Royal Giant, I mean, okay, if he sold his cannon, he would get arrested, right? Um, I mean, maybe he could sell it to the military, but I think the Royal Giant would probably be smart enough to sell himself as like a really smart construction worker, right? If he puts the cannon down and he does something, I don't know, he seems pretty smart. People could definitely use his strength and size in society. Three Musketeers, they would definitely open up their own training course. It'd be sick, right? You get taught how to use a gigantic musket at like a shooting range. As long as they get the proper licensing, I think it'd be a really cool business. Dark Prince would probably sell himself as like the chief of police, right? He'd probably be like a good bodyguard. I think he'd be somewhat successful. Nothing crazy though, but I that'd be cool to have a Dark Prince as a bodyguard. Poison spell can't do anything. Princess as an archery, like to teach you archery. She has the branding. I mean, to have a real life princess like teach someone stuff, like I'm sure every single teenage girl would go crazy over that. She would definitely be the CEO of her company, which would be sick. Ice Wizard, I don't think would be as successful or Wizard or Witch because he does move very slow. So for him to sell like an ice potion or something like a potion of icicles, he would not be the most efficient guy. And I really don't know what he would sell. Maybe he'd be like a cool. He would work in like cooling. You know, there's like heating and cooling. You have those like repairmen and women and stuff like that. Like Ice Wizard would just go into your house, just shoot the ventilation, in the middle of a very hot summer with an ice blast, and that's what would work. Fire spirits, I really don't know what would happen. I mean, they would technically just die, right? So I guess it would just be bankrupt immediately, right? Fire spirit and company, and it would go away because the CEO dies in 2 seconds. Furnace would cook food, but there's already so many furnaces, so it is somewhat of a competitive business at Realm. But I don't think he'd be going completely bankrupt. Again, he might work alongside maybe the Furnace and the Ice Wizard work together as like a heating and cooling company. That'd be interesting. I don't think it'd be super successful by any means, but I could see getting some interesting stuff. Guards, I'll just put next to the skeletons. Again, maybe having 3 skeleton guards as bodyguards would be cool, but you know, it's whatever. Miner, I mean, the miner would just be a miner. He would sell his mining abilities, which, I mean, you're always going to need. I mean, I feel like there's definitely a lot of mining that is done. There's like fracking and stuff that I guess happens in society. And, the miner would definitely have some interesting uh, business endeavors, but he would definitely not go bankrupt, but he also wouldn't be super rich either. I don't even know what Sparky would sell. I mean, electricity. That could be interesting, right? I mean, Sparky selling electricity would be cool. I know that Sparky is technically an inanimate object, but I'm just putting that in there because it's like portable. I guess I don't know. It's my video. Get away from me. Anyway, Lava Hound. I really don't know what Lava Hound would bring to the table. I'm gonna say you go bankrupt. I don't know what you would possibly want to do. Ice Spirit's coming next to Fire Spirit. Again, kind of like the Furnace and the Ice Wizard. They could be some like heating, cooling kind of thing, but the Ice Spirit dies in 2 seconds, so the business goes bankrupt. Bowling would probably sell himself as a professional bowler. And if you're selling yourself as a brand, maybe he could make his boulders into some really cool bowling balls. I think that would be interesting. I'm gonna go with someone successful. The bowling industry is really, I mean, it is slowly like expanding in popularity, but you're not making millions off of that. You're kind of somewhat successful. Log not included. Lumberjack. I think there's definitely some like lumberjack companies that are still like some like forest or tree plowing or destroying companies are still out in the ether. So as long as the lumberjack doesn't drink on the job, I think he would definitely find some good business chopping down trees and stuff and helping companies. I don't know what the snow golem would want. Bankrupt. Mega Minion, again, selling dark elixir that's illegal, bankrupt. Um Inferno Dragon, I guess. Inferno Dragon is like intelligent, right? He's older, so he could definitely be some like a very good like source of heating. If maybe during the winter time he could go to like people's driveways and like melt down all the snow and stuff with his beam. I think that'd be really cool. But again, I can't possibly think how successful an Inferno Dragon could be at a snow melting business, I guess. Graveyard spells not included. Elite barbarians are just gonna go next to regular barbarians. They'd probably do some very intense training, but again, they are barbarians, so that could be the sharpest tool. Tornado spell and clone spell are not included. Electro wizard, again, honestly, Electro wizard probably go in like an electric company, right? If there's a telephone line that's out of power, like a CS out of power, he just goes there, zaps it once, and then gives people a bunch of electricity. Again, I'm gonna put this next to the furnace and stuff. That'd be interesting. So you have heating, cooling, electricity, anything you want. You have all these guys, but again, I don't think people are gonna be spending tons of money to buy electricity from the Electro Wizard. Um, yeah. I mean, unless it's like he powers up like an entire state, and then the government just gives him like a ton of money. Goblin Gang, again, like probably sleazy business practices. I wouldn't trust that. Dark Goblin, I don't know what the Dark Goblin would really provide. I think he's going bankrupt. Battering Ram, not included. Executioner, I don't know what he would sell. His services, which is what execution. I don't think that's going anywhere. I think that's probably bankrupt. Bats, they would sell themselves as bats. Yeah, no way. Heal Spirit, again, would be very good in the medical field, but the second the Heal Spirit jumps into somebody and heals them, it's over. And then the business is over. Bandit, illegal. I mean, you would probably rob people blind if they were your business partners. Night Witch would probably sell bats, right? If she can constantly just sell bats, that would be pretty cool. But I don't know if anyone would want to buy a bat. I mean, if they're rabies free, if they're domesticated, that'd be really cool to have a pet bat. But how many people really want a bat, right? I don't think she would go bankrupt, but I don't think she's getting tons of money either from that endeavor. Skeleton Barrel's not included. Flying Machine's not included. Cannon Cart's not included. Mega Knight, I don't even know what Mega Knight would sell. Maybe like his armor, but I don't think he'd want to sell that. What would Mega Knight possibly sell? I mean, maybe he could use his strength, like his services for like construction or something. I have no clue. I think he's going bankrupt. Zappies are not included. They can't physically sell anything. Barbarian Barrel, no. Hunter would probably he'd make like a good like extermination job. You have like raccoons or squirrels or deer or something like that. Animals that you don't want. He sets up all sorts of traps, gets rid of them. Again, I don't think he'd be like super rich, but I think he'd still be able to find business. I don't know. I can't possibly think what the Royal Ghost would want. Magic Archer's part of the Forest Squad. He would rob you blind. Rascals, they would rob you blind. Snowball's not included. Royal Recruits, it's probably sell themselves to like bodyguards or like police officers or something. They'd probably be somewhat successful. I trust the Royal Recruits. Hogs, Royal Hogs, yeah, bankrupt. They can't really do anything. Goblin Giant, I don't know what the Goblin Giant would do. I mean, I'm putting him next to the regular Giant. Again, construction for his strength and stuff, I guess. Electro Dragon, I'm going to put next to the Electro Wizard. Because unlike the Baby Dragon, Inferno Dragon, electricity is definitely more of like a common commodity. Like if a whole like county, there we go, is out of electricity, the Electro Dragon could definitely be of service. Just breathe on it, and then the whole county's power is restored. Ram Rider, I really don't know what the Ram Rider would sell. Again, maybe like pictures with the Ram. Maybe like slingshot practices. I have no clue. But whatever she does, I don't think she'd be bankrupt. Wallbreakers would sell their barrels, but they're explosives and they get arrested. Earthquake is not included. Goblin Cage. What would the Goblin Cage is probably bankrupt. I mean, he would just sit there, and that is it. There's nothing he could do. No one would want his services. Fisherman. Fish is definitely still in the market, right? People still eat tons of fish. Yeah, he would definitely be a good businessman. Elixir Golem, I don't know. No, I don't think anyone would want the Elixir Golem as a business partner. Battle Healer would definitely be a very good like medic, right? She could sell herself, as her own medic. I think it'd be very cool. I don't think she'd be earning a ton of money. Well, actually, hold on. Hold on a minute. She'd be earning a ton of money, but would she be the CEO of her own medical business? Maybe. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. She opens up her own medical business just by magical healing aura. She has defined scientific expectations and thorough research, and she is now an anomaly among the medical field. Good for her. Firecracker. Again, she'd probably sell her explosives or something like that. That's illegal. Musket. Shooting bows and arrows or muskets at the range is good, but a whole RPG is gonna be questioned. Royal Delivery can't physically sell itself. Skeleton dragons. I mean, I'll put next to baby dragon. I don't think anyone really wants fireballs. Electro spirit, same thing. He dies immediately. The business is shut down. Goblin Giant, I could see, not Goblin Giant. Electro Giant, I could see as like a DJ, right? I think he'd sell himself as a cool DJ, but again, with his like massive electric aura, I think he would just kind of like hurt everyone around him or shut down like the DJ booth. But again, electricity is still a hot commodity in most people's houses, so Electro Giant would be somewhat successful just off the fact that people need electricity. Mother Witch, I really don't know what the Mother Witch turns people into pigs. I don't think that's a very good business. Goblin Drill is not included. Golden Knight going right next to the Prince for selling a course on how to be like Sigma and awesome and be somewhat successful because that's a Golden Knight, but no one cares. Archer Queen, I don't know what business she would do, but whatever business she's in, she already has like that. Pretend that's like the CEO of like Amazon, right? Pretend it's like Jeff Bezos, right? That's what the Archer Queen is. Jeff Bezos confirmed. What thumbnail? What? Right. So like no matter what business she goes into, like people are gonna be like, that's insane. Like I gotta try this out. Whatever product it is. Skeleton King. Doesn't have as much of a reputation as the Archer Queen. I really don't even know what the Skeleton King would sell in a business, but I feel like he might go bankrupt. Mighty Miner. I guess if you're in a construction zone and you need the best miner to do your work, right? For like 3 seconds, he fracks every ounce of oil in a country. I guess. Yeah, interesting. I guess he would be the CEO of a mining company, which would be cool. Phoenix is again bankrupt. Sorry. Monk would probably teach like classes, like martial arts classes. I think he'd be somewhat successful. I don't think he'd get a ton of revenue though. Little Prince. No one wants to have what the Little Prince is selling, unless he sells something like Prime, like he pulls a Logan Paul and just sells like a really dumb product like Prime. He's probably going bankrupt. No one likes the Little Prince. Void Spell's not included. Goblin Demolisher could technically sell firecrackers, which are not illegal depending on the kind of firecracker. If he sells them on 4th of July, he could be very successful. But then after that, what's he possibly going to do? Goblin Curse is not here. Goblin Machine, he's definitely doing some kind of like insane tech company, and he'd be the CEO, and he'd probably make millions. He'd be like the next NVIDIA, right, for how intelligent he is, and his like machine building and stuff. Suspicious Bush is not included. Goblin Stein, I think you'd probably get arrested if you're doing crazy experiments on people. That is malpractice, and yeah, you're getting arrested, buddy. Rune Giant, I mean, what, she would boost people? How long's the boost? I don't know enough. I don't think you would have a successful business. Berserker, you would not have a successful business. I don't even know what you would sell. Boss Bandit, you're getting arrested. Again, shady business practices, like definitely wire fraud and stuff. Spirit Empress, I don't know what Spirit Empress would sell, but she has that dragon, which is cool. That dragon could definitely be a cool moneymaker if she does like, I'll give you $50 to ride a dragon for like 30 minutes. That's a pretty cool business venture, You make like $1,000 in a day because you're having all these people line up to ride your dragon. That'd be insane. Blind Spell's not included. And then you have the Tower Troops, which, again, Princess, Tower Princess. To do archery with the princess would be awesome. She'd make tons of money. CEO. Cannoning. I don't know if anyone would really pay tons of money to fire a cannon for like a minute. I don't know. Probably bankrupt, if I'm being honest. Dagger Duchess, she could probably sell like expensive knives and stuff. Maybe for like professional chefs, she can make like all these cool cooking knives and like, whatever. That'd be interesting. And then a royal chef, he could probably open up his own business And I think because of how amazingly his like food would be in real life, he could probably make like a huge brand of like all these expensive, amazing foods and stuff. And then, he could venture into like maybe more like maybe like less expensive stuff, food, but then he could mass market it to people. And I think he could be the CEO of a company. Anyway, I had fun with this one. That is my definitive Clash Royale business man, businesswoman, entrepreneur tier list. So again, if you all enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing, as it would truly help me out a lot. And now that I'm back in college, I'm certainly going to be posting a lot more. I'm going to be honest, Clash Royale is a dying game, and I think I should pivot my content. I made a Has-Been Hotel video like yesterday. It did horribly. So I'm trying to think of another like dedicated fan base or video game that I should do. And if you guys have any suggestions that you think would help me grow the channel, please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And yeah, I hope you all enjoy this video, and I hope you have a wonderful night. Take care.